Welcome to this 14th episode of Brownsville Tech Live. And with me today is my co-host, Steve Rodriguez. He decided to take
What's
a vacation
up, people?
the last time.
14 episodes already? That's amazing,
Actually,
dude.
it is 14. I was guessing at first, but I uploaded all the videos up to YouTube, and it is 14. There's actually 2 missing on YouTube. For whatever reason, the 5G episode and the second Black Friday that we did in December doesn't upload for some reason.
Wow, 14.
But yeah,
that's amazing.
number 14. But I'm glad you're back. You decided to skip out on me the last time.
Well, important people have things to do, places to be, and hey, we're just too important to be on shows. We have to work, sir. All right. There's something I'll work. And so was work midnights.
Well, I work too. I don't play all day on the internet.
Oh, really?
I don't. Anyway, well, we've got actually some exciting episodes coming up as well. We've got the March 8th Apple preview coming up. Apple's going to release some hot new products. We did a pre-preview.
You gonna go get your iPhone?
That last week. Well, the only phone I think that's going to be released next week or announced will be the SE. There's not going to be an iPhone 14 until probably September. So I
you're gonna go
seriously
get
doubt. No, not yet. I'm still an Android guy. No.
Oh, well. Alrighty.
I like being flexible.
TMI.
No, I'm talking about the phone.
Oh,
Android's flexible.
So, all right. So what's the episode for tonight for? What's up?
Well, tonight the episode basically is how to save money on some of your streaming services. And as you know, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, all those services have actually increased their prices.
Yes, they have. Yeah. I was surprised when my subscription to Netflix went up.
It did. Yeah, so you add those up, plus if you're using any type of cable alternative like Sling, well, it kind of rakes up there, So there's ways that you can save some money. And
And we're
obviously,
all
one
about
way is
saving
to,
money.
yeah, and obviously, one way to save money is not to have it, right? But that's usually not an option. So, what I've discovered here is a new way. It's not really a new way. The software has been around forever, but it isn't as popular as it used to be. But the software is called Plex. And what Plex allows you to do is to install your own Plex multimedia server in your house. So in essence, what you're running is a Netflix service for free, a kind of like a Netflix service for free.
All right.
And so it just takes a few clicks to install it. And in, let's say, 15 minutes, you've got access to a database of movies.
Wow.
Yeah. Additionally, you can actually upload all your multimedia, all your content from your phones, like your pictures and your videos. You can have a central place where you can store it, and then you can recall your Plex media system from any computer, any TV that has the Plex application, any phone that has the Plex application as well.
Hey, you want to say a shout out to Lorelli? She's watching us. Hi, Lorelli.
Hey, Lorelli, how you doing?
That's awesome, dude. Hey. All right, so you're
Yeah.
going to show us how this is going on?
Yeah, so basically I'm going to go ahead and first show the Plex software, and then I'm going to show how easy it is to install it. So one of the very first things we're going to do, we're going to actually flip into a demo screen. It won't be the virtual theater this time.
What? No
So I'm gonna,
theater. I have my popcorn
no,
ready.
well, we're going to see the theater. We're going to see the
All right,
theater,
then.
but for right now, because of the size, we're going to flip into a different screen. So here we go. Alrighty, are you there?
I'm here.
Alrighty, so this is the actual Plex system. And so what you do is, I've got the software already installed on a separate
Mm-hmm.
system. And what the software allows you to do is basically access the Plex system. And the Plex system has access to all sorts of movies. I don't know if you're
Wow.
familiar with the service Crackle, but
No.
Crackle is pre-installed. So basically, there's all kinds of movies on here. They're not the most popular movies, but it's something that you can actually, uh, you know, have access to for free. So, for example, you've got different categories that you can of movies. So let's just say you want to click on this one. Of course, there's ads. That's the only backdrop.
Are the movies in 1080 or?
Mm, it's hard to tell.
Well, what movie did you
Now
put
keep.
on?
I don't know. I I'm
This is
not
a
really
family
sure.
show, remember.
Well, I can't control that. There's Gillian
It better not
Anderson.
be a
Remember
scary.
her from the X Files?
No, don't remember her.
Dana Scully.
I remember her.
And she was
Ooh,
she was Margaret Thatcher in The Crown
no, I didn't know that.
for a whole season. Have you ever watched The Crown?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, that's why I'm like, who?
Well, this is a while back.
Hey, so that's why I remember. See, I'm
Yeah.
not as old as you are.
Actually, I'm younger.
That's true. Hey, it's your birthday, right? Almost. March what?
Almost. March 15th. Yeah,
Man, you're
so
gonna be an
there's
old man.
different movies on here, that you
Hey,
can. There's one with
TV shows
Nicolas
also.
Cage. Yep, there's TV shows also. Um, I guess it's a Nicolas Cage thing. So if you're into Nicolas Cage, I guess they've got a big thing about Nicolas Cage. But you've got access to all sorts of movies.
And all those movies are free.
Yep, all these movies
Would
are
you be
free.
able to put it in the link so that way people will be able to download it?
Yeah, I'm gonna show people how to install the software in a few
There we go.
minutes. Yeah. So so basically, they've got different types. The other thing you can do is there's live TV.
Is there a charge?
No, of course it's 200 channels. The only thing is that some of these channels we've never heard of. They're kind of independent.
What do you mean? What do you mean you never
Well,
heard of?
some of these, like I've never heard of Euronews.
Euro News, that's Europe News, duh.
Well, yeah, but I don't watch it. So here's stories by
AMC?
AMC, Crackle, Popcorn Flicks.
What?
We've got there's some more. There's more AMC, IFC, True Crime. If you're into mob shows, they've got a whole section of that. They've got all kinds of channels. Some of the stuff I've never heard of.
Do they have Netflix? I mean, Animal Planet? National Geographic?
I don't know. I got to keep on flipping. Love Channel. I didn't click on that. I didn't want to find out what that was. The Cine. The Cine Real.
And you say all this is free.
Yeah, they've even got Indian channels. If you're into Indian movies.
Are you calling me an Indian?
No, I'm not. I'm not calling you an
Oh,
Indian.
all right.
Boat shows. If you're into boating, they've got boating channels. If you're into fitness,
No, not anymore.
uh, they've got, I guess, some kind of Latino channels. I don't know what Mas Chick is. Some of these channels are probably international channels. See, we're kind of used to the American channels.
Yes.
If you're, they've got an America's Funniest Videos channel.
Wow. NFL?
Where?
Oh, what's that top one? Right there. What's that one? Above the racing. Up. That one.
I don't know what NHRA classics. Let's click on it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, but it's 76. Oh, I don't think so. That was way before our time. Combat shows. People TV. They've even got some local channels, not our local channels, but Access TV now. Fox.
So
Yeah, so
over
there's about
200 channels for free.
over 200 channels. Yeah, over 200 channels. Like I said, some of them are independent, but for the most part, you've got access to that, plus movies. I mean, keep in mind they're a little older. Some of them probably we never went to go see. Some of them probably didn't even make it, like in the top 10. But I've seen this where, like, every once in a while they'll have a Nicolas Cage episode or a Vin Diesel whole episode, so they show all the movies. If you're
Sorry
into
about that.
like
Hash brown's barking in the background. Sorry.
barking.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
So, in addition to that, you can get plugins. And what the plugins allow you to do is, for example, if you've got somebody on YouTube that you follow, like me, for example, you can actually have all the videos on the Plex system. It'll go scan them and bring them into you without you having to go to YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah. So that kind. There's also web shows, that you can pull in. Different types of web shows and podcasts out there. And you can also use it as a video server. So, for example, if you've taken all this video of your kids, and we've done that for many years, but I guarantee you they're all over the place. They're on this SD
Yes.
card, that SD card, on that computer, on this computer. You can bring all those videos into this Plex system and have a central place to watch those videos. So you can then go to your
And
TV
there's
and
no charge for that?
nope. And what
How
I
much
did,
space do they give you?
as much space as the computer. The storage is on your computer. The movies
Oh.
the movies are on the cloud, but your independent videos are on your computer. So, for example, for the new show that I launched, the political show. Hold on, don't make me a liar. There we go. So basically, I've got my videos that I did for the other podcast, and so I've stored them here. If I want to watch them,
Interesting. I lost you.
huh?
There you are.
Oh, what happened?
I want to hear the video.
Oh, well, that's probably because of the way it's stored.
All right.
So basically, what I have here is I have my podcast videos already stored in here. Additionally, it scanned my other videos on my computer. So some of the other episodes, well, they're not really episodes. They're bits and pieces of my last barbecue show.
And it did that automatically?
Yeah.
Interesting. So why aren't more people using this software?
Well, first of all, the software started out as a thing for hobbyists. Okay. It was a way to have multimedia on one server. It was really for computer geeks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere down the line, the streaming services got popular. Okay. So I believe that in the end, this kind of resorted to just a regular multimedia server. But with the plugins to be able to watch YouTube, with the plugins to be able to watch Netflix if you want. You can actually plug in the other services right into the software. There's plugins to do that. You can have a full multimedia server. But in addition to that, for people that like to buy their movies and have copies of their movies, instead of having them on your Xbox or like an external hard drive, you have them right within the Plex Media system. And it allows you to store all your content in one place and be able to access it from any device around the house. You're not limited to just that single TV.
Only around the house?
No. Actually, you can configure your router, open up a port, and point that port to the built-in media server. And then you can be on the outside accessing your movies from a phone or a tablet or a PC that's connected to the internet.
We
So
have
you
a question.
uh-huh.
Do the plugins cost anything like Netflix and Prime from Keith Bowler? Sorry if I mispronounced your last name.
It's Keith Bowler.
All right.
Uh, as far as I know, there is no cost for the plugins. There is no
Hmm.
cost for those plugins. So, but basically, all those videos, all those pictures that you've got stored, now you have a place where you can centrally store this. Now, let's step even further. Let's say you're a company and you've got a lot of online training videos and things like that. You can actually use the Plex system and store all those video contents right on a server, and then provide a link directly so that your employees can actually access that service. The
You got
difference,
people interested, Dan. So, Miss Adela Gutierrez asked how. All right. So, I guess I'm not the only person on here that didn't know about this or is the first time hearing about it.
okay. Well, what I will do is I will switch screens and I will show you how to install it. Where to go, where to download the software, and where to install it.
Awesome.
And by the way, it's all legal and free. All right, so
Yeah,
here we
we
go.
wouldn't want to do anything illegal, unethical, or immoral, right?
Of course not.
I
All
don't want to
righty,
go
here
to
we
jail
go.
for you.
All right. Okay, so the very first thing you do is you go over to Google and you go in there and you go to do a search for Plex Media Server. You'll hit
Uh-huh.
the Plex Media Server link, just like we're showing you here, and you go to their downloads section. There's a download for Windows and there's a download for Mac.
All right.
So you start downloading the software, and it's done, as you can see.
Man, you got fast internet. Man, you must pay a lot of money for that.
Oh no, I'm poor.
You know, some of us are poor, right? So,
So you'll get to the Plex Media install. It's gonna give you a warning to say if you want to install it. You're gonna say yes, and then of course it starts processing. And it'll take a while, about 10 minutes. But basically, after it's done, it doesn't require anything else.
don't you need a username or password or?
Yes, you will have to create a username and password.
And so, all right. That's
So
interesting.
that
Say you're out there and you put in all your pictures and videos, a lot of places that you've been, all right? You know,
and show them to whoever.
right.
Yeah, yeah. You don't
And
have to
free up
worry
space
about.
on all your other devices.
Right. I mean, storage is cheap today. I mean, you can have a machine at home with a gig, 2 gigs. I'm sorry, not gigs. 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte,
Yeah, I was
three
like, what?
terabytes,
A
four
gig?
terabytes. I know. I was thinking of RAM. So it's done. I believe it's done. And I think this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so you have several options. You can sign up with your Facebook account. You can sign up with your Apple ID. You can sign up with a Google account or your email. I had a little bit of problems at first logging in. It's pretty self-explanatory.
It seems easy so far.
By the way, did you notice we're back in our virtual theater?
I saw, man. Hey, I brought out
No
the popcorn.
popcorn. Doug was telling me that I should put a disco ball at the beginning of the intro with the music. He'll be back next week.
Where is he?
Oh, he's at Rancho Viejo. You know, he's one of those rich guys. He
So
actually
one
told
week
me he
it's a
wasn't.
rich guy.
He actually sent me a message today saying he was going to watch the show. Could you believe that?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what his
He should
problem
have joined
was.
us.
I know. He said, I'm not gonna be able to watch it tonight. I said, how dare you? This is what took a while. But basically, once you're done, and I'm gonna flip out,
All right.
you end up with this, and you end up with the home
Dang.
screen. And like I said, you've got a lot of movies. Granted that some of them are old.
And you're saying that the pictures and the videos download by themselves?
Your external pictures are scanned.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you've got your phone connected to your PC, it will pick up the pictures and put them on the Plex server for you. Yeah. So
All that
basically,
extra money I'm paying Microsoft to hold my pictures,
you don't have to do that anymore.
Amazon. Hey.
Well, keep in mind that you're limited with Amazon, with Microsoft, and even with Google in storage. They only give you
Yeah,
X amount of storage for free.
yeah, I got 1 terabyte. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's 5 gigabytes free. Then you pay for the rest.
exactly. So on a monthly basis, you're paying for extra storage. Well, you really don't
Yes.
have to do that. You could store them all on a computer system, and they basically serve as a cloud.
Oh, and
And
then
then
my
once
question
you
to you, Dan, is what happens if that computer hard drive goes down?
well, that's one of the things you have to pre-prepare for because storage is so cheap. You should always have 2 drives on a system so that you can have backup capability in case something like that happens. I mean,
Gotcha.
the advantage of going with Amazon and Google and Microsoft is that for the most part, your stuff will be secure because it's backed up every night. But you can do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing on your system. You know, you can do RAID backups. You can do image backups. Every once in a while, you run an image to another hard drive. I mean, there's different ways to do storage.
All right.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't back up their computers, they don't back up their tablets, and they don't back up their phones. For whatever reason, I've run into many situations where people don't do the Apple Cloud, the Apple iCloud backup. They turn off the Google Android Sync. Why? I have no idea, but they do it. So when your phone craps out, you may be
That's it.
getting a backup from like a few months before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a great way to provide entertainment without having to pay for it. And then by getting a Kodi plugin, well, then you've got access to those movies.
You want to explain what Hody plugin is?
Well, basically, a Kodi plugin provides access to the Kodi system. And I've heard that there's some movies that can be streamed from that system. I don't have
Oh,
one, but you can actually do a Kodi plugin. You can do a YouTube plugin.
when
You
you
can even
do a
do a
YouTube
Slink plugin.
plugin, it would be what? www.youtube.com or what?
Well, you could actually tell the plugin what content on YouTube you want in your Plex system. So instead of having everything come from YouTube, you can target specifically what you want loaded into your Plex media system.
He
So, for
says
example,
cool.
if you want to watch us all day long, well, you go to Brownsville Tech Live on YouTube, and it'll pull up all our videos.
Somebody, I can't do this. I have Chrome OS.
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. Let me back up. If you're accessing the internet through a Chromebook, okay, but you have a Plex media system running under Windows or Mac OS, you'll be able to access that Plex server. It's basically a separate box on your home network. So hypothetically, if you have some older PC that you haven't used and it's just been sitting there, pop in a 1 terabyte drive and load the Plex system on it, and that will be your multimedia server that you can then access from your Chromebook or your iPhone or your Android phone or your iPad. So, but what I want to get across, it's one box sitting on your network, and any network device at home can access this content. You're not limited to one TV.
Interesting. I'm still perplexed at why it hasn't hit, why it hasn't taken off, why. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, as you know, especially in this area, we've got pirated Fire Sticks and all kinds of stuff that, people are used to doing. But there are methods of getting the same results through a Plex media server. It's not, like I said, it's not something that took off because there was a lot of technologies that came about that kind of pushed this to the wayside. But
Mhm.
hypothetically, for me right now, if I wanted to show somebody here if I had a group of people in my backyard and I wanted to show them our episodes, okay, right
Uh
now
huh.
what I would have to do, I would have to go over to YouTube just like this, and oh, there's my cousin. Look at that. He's probably on right now. Yeah, he's halfway through his show.
Who's your
So
husband?
oh, you know. So basically, here are all our episodes on YouTube, except for like two.
Wow. Hey,
Yeah.
there's hash brown.
Where's Hash Brown?
Go scroll over.
There he
There
is.
he is.
Yeah. So if we've got our episodes.
You have a
So
question on the chat.
okay, what's the question?
Can I install Plex on my smart TV?
There is a Plex client. Okay, but you still need a Plex media system, or you can sign up through the Plex cloud. Plex allows two methods. You can download the Plex media server software and have a built-in Plex media server at home, or you can choose to join the Plex cloud service and store all your content on the Plex cloud. But that client, from what I hear, can access the cloud system or a Plex media server uh, at home.
Keep the questions coming. I'll announce them to Dan. So hey,
Yeah, because I'm not seeing the comments. And I've turned off the chat box down here at the bottom. So basically, that's the way I would do it now. Well, I don't have to do it that way. Now I can just go and basically, have a library. I create a library, and then basically I point it to wherever I want all the content to be downloaded from, and then it's displayed right here on the Plex system.
will you be able to do a test on the Bronzo tech if you don't have it?
Right now, I don't have the YouTube plugin.
All right.
Yeah, so I can't do an actual test right now. But what I did is for the other podcast show, I was able to take all the content and plug it right into the Plex. So one of the things that in some of the companies that I worked for is, they had lots of video, lots of training videos, but they were still basically using DVDs. They started to stream stuff, but you still had to go somewhere and remember an address to go find it. Well, if you pre-do your screens and everything, you've got one place where to see it. A nice little user interface.
Right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hey, who's that?
Think that's Ty. Yeah, he's being as usual.
He wants
So
attention.
yeah. Ty, be quiet. So yeah, basically, I had heard about this Plex for a long time, and it had been something that I had wanted to do, and I just actually installed my server about 3 days ago. So I'm still playing around with it, and I'm still trying to see what I can do with all my content. But basically, it's a central location where to store your external content, as well as you're able to access all those movies that are available.
So
I mean, granted,
let's say you have your main desktop.
uh huh,
You have everything there.
yeah,
But on different iPads, you have other pictures. How will it pick up those pictures on the iPads
you would have to connect your iPad via Lightning cable. The other end of it
to
would
the
be
PC?
USB to that PC or Mac.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, it's going to see it as an external drive. And when it does its scan, it'll pop them up
It
like it
brings
did,
them.
yeah, like it did right here. See, the only two
Yes.
videos that I uploaded were these. But then I started noticing it was scanning all of this. And these are videos that I did. This is my last barbecue episode where I did the Pollo Loco knockoff.
Uh huh.
So it captured all those videos. It captured a couple of other videos that I did as well. Just hope it doesn't pop in anything that I don't want anybody to see. But yeah, I mean, there's videos on my breakfast specials. I think that was the Super Bowl special. Yeah, because I did the griddle. So it just downloaded everything. Keep in mind these are videos before the final editing. You know,
Right.
my what was it? I think this was a video on short ribs. I can't remember. Oh, and here's I actually had we haven't had this show, but somewhere I was gonna have an episode on how to build your own gaming system. I was halfway through it until I ran into problems. So we never had that episode.
Alrighty now.
So yeah, so I got a lot of content, you know. But it scanned all these videos. I mean, it really scanned all these videos.
So as long as you have the space for it, you'll be good.
Yep. And like I said, storage is cheap. You know, find yourself an old computer, pop in a terabyte drive, load up the software, connect it to the back of your router. If your router has more than one Ethernet port, you just plug in a network cable, put that server on the network. If you want to access the content from the outside in, you open up a port on the router, point it to the IP address of the physical machine, and then you'll be able to access from the outside in. Pretty straightforward. You
How
know.
secure is this from hacking? From somebody trying to get into your system?
Well, one of the articles that I was reading today is that the Plex software uses what they called secured socket layer encryption. It's called SSL. And what
Yeah.
SSL is basically a digital certificate. And so the software provides encryption capabilities. I don't have this stuff turned on right now because it's just for demo. But I'm told that with secure socket layer encryption, it should be pretty secure. Keep in mind that your router, when you have a router, you have a couple of things in play. One of the things that you have is a WAN IP address, which is basically
Right.
the IP address that the cable company assigns to your cable modem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then what happens is you have an internal set of IP addresses. By default, most home routers use IP address ranges of 192.168.1. something. Some
Mm-hmm.
routers use 192.168.0. something. But what those IP addresses are IP addresses behind what we call a NAT table. and NAT stands for Network Addressable Translation. And so typically a hacker can't see a system if it's behind NAT. Okay. That's not to say that it's not hackable, but they have to try pretty hard. Additionally, you want to be able to have your Windows firewall software that comes built into Windows installed as well. So you want to have a couple of layers of protection turned on to
Gotcha.
ensure that your content is not hackable. Right. Now, I'm not sure how many people would steal our videos. You know, they can access them from multiple sources and multiple sites. You know, but
Imagine.
they may want to take a video of hash brown.
Yeah, yeah, maybe, or yep. So
You know, so yeah, this is what the Plex system is. Like I said, there's a lot of promise with it. I'm not sure how long Plex is going to continue putting out software, though, especially if they're moving into the cloud arena where they can actually make money.
how does this company make any money?
Through the cloud service.
Yeah, but they're not charging anything for this.
No, they're not, but they've got a large following of developers.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Oracle. You know, they have MySQL, which is which was a database that was very popular in the open source community. It was free for a long time. A majority of sites on the internet still run under MySQL, free of charge. But Oracle bought them out. But Oracle sells a commercial version of MySQL, and they also they also have the community version of MySQL, which is free.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what the price is of Plex Cloud Services, but
Google it.
like I guess I could, right?
Hey,
Go
Google it.
premium.
That way, those people that are watching, I have an informed decision if they want to stay with whatever they have, or maybe this is better. Oh my!
Oh, there it is. But look at
That
this:
ain't bad.
$4.99 a month,
Annually?
$40 a month, $40 a year, or for 119 a lifetime. You pay
That's the best
119,
one.
and you don't have to pay any more.
So 119, and that gives you
It gives you
a lifetime.
downloads, physical downloads to the hard drive. I'm not sure about advanced user controls, what that is. HDR tone mapping. And I think I read somewhere where it allows you to do like a DVR kind of function.
Really?
Yeah. But that's not bad. $200 for a lifetime.
What do you mean 200? It's 119.
Sorry. It's my dyslexia. Okay.
All right, sir. 119.
Yep. Look, I've got
Hey,
Ty
who's
on the
that?
show. Yeah.
Hey, Ty.
He's not a happy camper. It's
What did
almost
you do to him?
bedtime. Huh?
What did you
He's
do?
I didn't. He's the grumpiest.
Mm.
So, hey boy, time to get down. So, yeah, so that's not bad. I mean, the price is not bad. It really isn't.
You know,
I mean, think
with
about
the
it.
monthly 5 times 12 is 60. You know, with the annual 40 a year, do the lifetime would be the best one, best option.
Yep. Yep.
That's just my opinion.
Yep. I mean, hopefully, as this continues, we'll be able to see more U.S. channels in the channel section, you know? I'm not
Yep.
into Indian movies, so or let me rephrase that. International movies.
There we go. Don't want to get anybody's feelings hurt, sir.
I know I didn't mean it that way. But there was a ton of channels from India. You know, I've only watched one movie that was actually produced by an Indian company. Remember that one with the movie of the tiger and the kid?
Yeah,
Was it what, House of Pie?
something like that.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever watched.
Well, when I was overseas, I watched several. That's all the channels we would get. So
What?
those international channels. So
Well,
you
it was
know,
better than
and
nothing.
of course some German channels, right? And they didn't have the closed caption, so I was just looking at the little monitos moving left and right and left, up and down. I don't know what they were saying, but I mean, oh well.
Well, when I was in England for that whole month and a half, uh, there was very little channels. There was BBC this and BBC that. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
many old BBC movies I got to watch during that time.
Hey, I'm gonna interrupt you. So I need a computer with 1 terabyte of memory to establish my streaming service for my home. That's Heath.
You need a computer with at least 8 gigs of RAM, with at least a terabyte hard drive, with the Plex software installed to run your own streaming service.
I got a question for you, Dan. Why don't you set up a little business? Hey, or help these people
Oh,
out. Because there's interest.
well, you know, I can obviously give people tips, but I'm not into the hardware installation anymore.
Well, you know, hey, pretty sure people wouldn't mind paying a couple of dollars here or there or a Whataburger meal, hey, for you to help them out or something.
Yeah,
If you're interested in that, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Hmm?
You know, I'm just here to provide information right now.
And it's good information, sir. I'll tell you that much. Because if you had not told me about this, I wouldn't have known, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have known. And it seems other people didn't know about it either.
yeah.
So how'd you run across this?
I've known about the software for several years now.
So you've kept this a secret from us for a couple of years.
No, I just kind of lost track. You know, there's a lot of things that I run into and I don't share with, because sometimes I don't think there's an interest for it. You know,
Well, by the questions that I've seen, um, I think this is one of the episodes that you've had a lot of interest.
yeah.
I might be
Well,
wrong though. I might be wrong.
prices are increasing across the board on many things, and the streaming services have been going up and up and up. I mean, the
Yes.
alternative to cable was streaming services, but if your streaming services, when you tally them all up, are going to be just like paying for cable, then there's no alternative anymore.
Okay.
You know,
And we've had this episode in the past where we've spoken about the streaming services that we're paying basically the same or more.
you could be. Yeah.
Hmm?
Hey, the other
So,
thing I wanted to mention, I recently went out of town. We stayed at a hotel. And one of the things that the hotel TVs now have are the built in apps, like for Netflix and Hulu and whoever, right? Well, there on this particular TV, there was a feature to clear out usernames and passwords for those apps. And it made me think how many people have actually logged into their Netflix or their Hulu accounts while staying at a hotel and they never clear their usernames and passwords out. The next person that comes in to stay in that room will be able to watch the content on your dime. It didn't really hit me until, when we went out of town recently. You know, I
That
personally
is,
would never log in to those accounts via the TV. If I was going to stay for an extended stay, I would go buy myself a cheap $20 Roku, pre-program it, and take it with me.
you don't have a first.
Well, Fire Stick, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If
When I
people
used
log
to
into their
travel,
accounts, yeah,
yeah,
people log
yeah.
into their accounts at those hotels on those TVs, chances are they don't remember to log out.
Where did I go that I was using one of the computers? It was at the embassy, I believe, and I had to use one of the computers. And before you even logged in, right, they made sure that they would log the person out, whoever was on there before.
Yeah,
Somewhere, somehow, the program, right, logged you out. So,
yeah, yeah. But I guarantee you that a lot of people don't, and their accounts are used and abused and so forth. But
mhm.
I didn't realize how easy it was for that to happen until recently. Like I said, I never log into those apps from a hotel. But if I had to, if I was bored out of my mind and I wanted to watch something, I would take my own device. I mean, the other thing is just take an iPad.
Right.
If you're into watching a novela and you don't want to miss it while you're out of town, well, use your iPad or your phone. You know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's pretty much it for today's episode. Next week we've got the Apple March 8th announcements from Apple Park. They're going to hold them virtually like they did the last 2 years, but they're going to introduce some phones, some iPads, maybe a Mac Mini. Well, definitely a new Mac Mini. They're talking about some affordable monitors, not the five
Wow.
thousand dollar types. So they're looking at that. There won't be an iPhone 14. That probably won't happen until September. There probably won't be any announcements of any new iOS or updates to macOS. That'll happen during the Worldwide Development Conference they also hold in November. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Doug if he's still available, and we're actually going to invite you too. We're going to have two co-hosts
What?
next
Oh
week.
my gosh.
So we want to see how that works out. Hopefully everybody stays civil. So
I
we're
won't
going to
make
do
any
that next
promises.
week. And then I've been thinking about doing a specific episode on solar panels. We have
Solar
somebody coming
panels.
in to talk about solar panel technology and how you can save money by converting your house from electricity to solar. So they'll be in house probably the episode after that. I know there's a lot of confusion on solar energy. There's a lot of confusion whether it's worth converting from regular electricity to solar. So I'm really excited about having that individual come online and show us what's available, the pros and cons, and so forth. So we've got some.
I do know it costs a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yeah they do.
All right.
Yeah they do.
And
There's
I
no doubt
have
about it.
a testimony, an actual true person that I know that went solar in Florida, sold their house the note didn't go with them. He's still paying for the solar panels for a house he doesn't have.
Wow. Well, those are the kind of questions we're going to ask. This person who's going to come on in the next 2 weeks about those situations, costs and so forth. But I'm really excited
Right.
about that because my neighbor has solar panels, and another neighbor about 5 houses down also installed solar panels. So I
Really?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know of the pros and cons, but I'm really excited about that episode coming up. So,
I do know you have to finance it if you don't have the money. All
yeah.
right. So it's
Well,
another note.
some of us
So
don't have the thousands that you do.
no, I don't have it either. Sorry. All right. Every time they come over, they want me to apply. I'm like, nope, sorry, don't have good
Yeah.
credit. Sorry. You know,
Aye, aye.
and as soon as I say that, they leave.
They leave. Well, that's a way.
Yep.
That's a way to
So
scare them.
hey, that's all I did tell them.
Yeah. Alrighty.
So,
Well, everybody, that's
but
it for today's episode. We appreciate everybody coming online. We appreciate the comments. Hopefully, for the next episode, especially the Apple preview and the upcoming episode on solar panels, we'll reopen the chat box again. So,
thank you very much
alrighty.
for inviting me. Thank you for having me on the show. Everybody, thank you for the questions. Hey, and then I hope to be on the show again.
Well, yeah, next week. Unless the politicos keep me busy.
Hey, you never know.
You never know. Alrighty. Good night, everybody.
Adios.